Hello, this is Barb Johnston from Annerley TV, and today I'm speaking with local business owner Steve Drew from Espresso on School Road at Yeronga. And as you know, I'm passionate about supporting our local community, and I thought you would like to find out a little bit more about one of our local businesses that I think was instrumental in helping create this new interest in community coffee and people gravitating to locations where they're sharing time with family and friends. And I really think Evo's was part of that, the beginnings of that in our enclave here in Yeronga, Annerley and Tarragindi. So welcome, Steve. Thank you for speaking with me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me along, Barb.
So tell me a little bit about the beginnings of Evo. I'm interested to know where the name came from and roughly how long you've been running Evo's here at School Road.
Okay, so Evo's been up and running now for 6 years. We were 6 years old in July.
Yes.
The name really was an evolution, and that's what it's short for, Coffee Evolution. There's been a lot of conjecture about whether it's short for Steve-O and Evo at Steve-O or Steve-O at Evo. But it really, we were tossing around a lot of names before we opened the business. And we originally thought of Coffee Evolution because it was quite new, it was quite funky, the very small 18 square metres that we were setting up in, just coffee and cakes, no food or anything. And we settled on Coffee Evolution, and a friend of mine, Australian born and bred, he said, well, people are just not going to say we'll go to Coffee Evolution for coffee, they'll say we'll go to Evo's. And it sort of seemed part of the Australian vernacular, and we settled on that straight away.
And I think one of the things that really struck me when I first came across it was that it was that cosy little hole-in-the-wall type of coffee shop, which to me just had so much character, and it was wonderful to see that in our local community. And you said it was only 18 square metres.
18 square metres, 6 by 3, yeah.
So, what, 10 people in there and it was full house?
Yeah, really, we had, I think we had 6 tables in, which at most you would get 3 people round. So at the absolute outside you would get 18 people, but usually 12 people in there, and it really felt absolutely chock solid in there.
Then you've actually changed now and you've moved next door into slightly bigger premises, and I guess like any business that's growing, that's been a positive move to be able to cater a little bit more. There have been some changing needs, I imagine, you've found in our local coffee community and what people expect?
Absolutely, Barb. Part of the change to move the bigger premises, and it's actually 55 square metres, so 3 times the size.
Gosh.
Plus the courtyard outside. Part of that change was that there was a lot of people saying to me, if only we could have some toast, if only you could do something in addition to a couple of different types of cake. And I, having run the business in the small premises for 4.5 years, I felt I needed greater personal challenge. We had the opportunity of taking over the larger premises. I spoke to my landlord, secured the area which is now known as the courtyard, and we decided to go ahead in order to fulfil both sides of the coin, both sides of the requirement really. Give people more choice,
yes,
bring more people to the business, but also develop my own skills within that sphere of working and give myself greater challenge.
One of the things I've noticed you do more regularly is have your community brekkies,
yes,
so to speak. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we really started pushing the food on this earlier this year, and it became patently obvious to me as the business owner that I just wasn't catering for the needs of the customer. We'd moved to the bigger premises, we were still nearly doing pretty much the same thing, and we hadn't developed the food at all. And I wanted a way of trying to recreate the sense of community that we had next door in the small shop, but in the larger premises. And we worked on a menu, we started doing more with regards to developing the food, and then I think Anzac Day was the first time that we did the barbecue, and I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, desperately worried that no one would turn up, and we got absolutely smashed. It was just such a raging success, so we followed it up very quickly with Mother's Day. Again, I thought no one would turn up, everyone would go to restaurants and proper food service cafes, but again it was a roaring success.
So there must be a need for this. People must like that sense of doing something within their community if you're getting such a great response?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Barb. We don't put on like a fantastic spread. It's really simple, straightforward food. It's well done. We use good quality products. We use good quality ingredients, and my attention to quality is paramount. However, it's simple and straightforward. But I think what people like is that relaxed feel. There is no pressure to move on. They don't have to dress up, and they sit in the courtyard, which has become a really nice place to be.
And I think there's an occasion coming up this weekend that you're hoping to make the most of, isn't there?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Every election day has been our biggest ever trading day. It's fantastic exposure for the business. We'll have the barbecue up and running from about 6:30 in the morning. We're going to put it at the front of the shop this time, and move the tables into the courtyard to create more seating space and a more relaxed space outside. But of course, we'll be able to capture people who are just passing by on their way to the polling booths and don't feel that they have the time to come in and sit and enjoy a coffee as well. So that will be up and running from 6:30 on Saturday morning.
So there you are, Saturday morning, 7th of September 2013, and you can enjoy something to eat and a lovely coffee on your way to the polling booth. Now, there was one other thing that I wanted to just touch on with you. Your sense of community seems to be something that I share. What do you think was the turning point for Evo's and this, I guess, interest in people coming together at a point and really demonstrating the power of community? What was that for you?
For me, Barb, that was probably maybe nine months to a year after I'd started trading. We were slow to build up trade. I didn't market. I didn't actively go out into the community. I wanted people to find me, and which they did slowly and surely. And there was just one time, there was a local mum. She had 3 girls over at Yeronga school, and I think one of the girls had fallen over on the way out of school one afternoon, and these 2 little sausages appeared in the front door and said, "Is it okay if we come and sit in here?" And I said, "Yeah, of course, what's happening?" Mum's looking after the other sister, and the mum came in a few minutes later and said, "I sent them along here because I knew they would be welcome and I knew they would be safe." And for me, that really was indicative of the way people were starting to feel about the business and where it was slotting into the community. And really, I think we just continue to build, and it's nothing that we set out to do. We've just tried to get to know people's names. We get to know their coffee, their foibles, their nuances, and we try to cater for them.
And I remember you saying something about how the flood impacted on our area, and that also brought home that sense of community to you. And I guess a lot of the people that you connected with at that time were people that you learned to know or grown to know through the course of your business.
That's right, Barb. I was absolutely flabbergasted that my partner and I were affected by the floods at our house at Cheltenham. And in the run-up to the rise in water, we were really racking our brains as to how we were going to deal with the floods, get back into the house, clean the house. And still to this day, not quite sure how the word went round to people. But we got back into the house on about 6 o'clock on the Friday morning, and by 11 o'clock there was maybe 30 people, all of which were from the shop. They all turned up with their own mops and buckets and brooms and cloths, and they took things of ours away and put them through dishwashers and clean, and there was just people there until the job was done. And there was a couple of standout people there. Gavin, who from Crackerjack Paint, he 10 hours on a gurney, just gurneyed the whole house from top to bottom, and just didn't stop. And I said to him, "Why are you doing this?" And he said, "Well, you're part of the community." And that to me was, it still sends.
It's one of those,
absolutely,
those warm, fuzzy moments that we all love, and but it's nice to really have a tangible story on which to pin that sense of community.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been very powerful for me.
Well, Steve, thank you. It's been great talking to you, and I hope you get a little bit of a sense of the sense of community that's part of Evo's. And for me, it's just been a really wonderful experience to have that in our local community. And there have been many a times I've popped in and had a coffee, and I'm probably a little bit biased, but certainly one of the better coffees around in this area. So thank you.
Thank you, Barb.
And here's to more from Evo's at Yeronga. So I hope that Steve can see you there sometime soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Barb.